Whew. That was a doozy. Danny Duncan is one of my favorite creators. Yeah, he's one of those creators where no matter what he uploads, I know I'm going to enjoy it. But that doesn't mean you can just slack on your thumbnails. I know Danny Duncan makes great content, but does the world? A YouTuber of his caliber should know better. So as you can see, there's a pretty simple strategy that Danny has for his thumbnails. There's a picture of him that's easy to recognize, and then a picture from one of the strongest scenes in the video. He's consistently getting 4 million, 5.2, 6.8. But if we take a look at his most recent 6 videos, 3 million, 3.2, 2.8, 2.5, and his most recent one is only 1.9. Just at a quick glance, I can tell that the thumbnail could be a lot stronger. All right, well, Danny, I know I can make a stronger thumbnail than this, and since you've given me years of entertainment, I'm gonna do this one for you, pro bono. All right, so let's get to it. Here's the original thumbnail of Danny. I'm just gonna have this around so I can glance back at it, and I'm just gonna make it transparent so I can't see it. So this is Kewon. We're gonna go to his Instagram and see if we can find a better picture of him. So we need a picture of him that we can make look like he's laying in a bed. That's kind of good. This would be funny like if he was like getting down with an alligator, but that's not what we're going for in this video. So like, don't hate me for this. This is nice lighting. It'd make sense that Kewon's sleeping without a shirt on. I can see his hands, so those could be over the covers. And he looks kind of sleepy, so I'm gonna take this picture. I'll start with him about this size. So first we're gonna go over and make sure that our layer is rasterized. You can see that this one isn't, with that little icon that it has in the bottom of the thumbnail on the layers panel. So I'm gonna right click, and I'm going to go to rasterize layer. Click that, and that little icon disappears. Now I'm going up to the properties panel. I'm gonna scroll down, and it says remove background. Click that, and let the magic happen. As you can see, it pretty well perfectly removed Kewon from the background. There's a couple little mistakes that I'm gonna fix, so I'm gonna zoom in by hitting Control plus or Command plus if you're on a Mac. Select the brush tool, use the brackets to change the size of the brush, and then just make sure that the layer mask is selected. Now I'm gonna paint black over the area that I don't want. Just like that. And that continues to remove the extra media that Kewon has left around him. Looks like I'm missing a little bit of his earrings, so I'm gonna make the brush just a little bit smaller so it's the width of the earring. I'm gonna press X to switch my colors from black to white. And then I'm just gonna paint over where I think his earring is. That looks good to me. Now I'm gonna press X again to switch back to black, and then I'm gonna take out this little bit of extra detail that I have behind this ear. Looks like he's missing a little bit of his hair. Paint over where his hair is missing. Just doing a nice quick edit here. It doesn't have to be perfect since we are working with a thumbnail and it's gonna be teeny tiny. Look at those biceps. Okay, this one's a little funky, so I'm gonna paint that back. Nice, Kewon. I am jealous of those muscles. It's looking good so far. Now we gotta find Kewon in Bed. So I'm gonna head over to Envato Elements, click on Photos, and then type in bed. Let's see what we got. So I want top down, just like the position that Kewon's in. So imagine there's like a cover coming along his chest, and it's kind of like top down looking down on him. Not seeing a ton of what I want. But you know what we can do? Envato Elements has this amazing feature where if you go to More, and then 3D, then you can search within this library. I'm gonna search a bed here. And just like the other page, it shows a lot of beds, but these ones are on white. That's because they're 3D objects. So let's find one with some sheets that are kind of ruffled. This one's actually really good. So what's really cool about the 3D section of Envato Elements is if you click View 360 Render, you can actually click on the picture and move it around to any angle you want. So like Kewon, it's pretty much straight above. So maybe we will go with something like this. Download this angle, DD thumb. I'm gonna make them significantly bigger. Maybe like that. Bring it on an angle. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna select the bed and press Control L or Command L if you're on a Mac. And now I'm going to adjust the levels of the bed so that the blacks in the shadows are the same level as the blacks on Kewon. So like that, you can see that this is about the same as that. And then I'm going to do the same with the lights. So I'm going to bring this up. Good. So with the shine on his face, that's about the same lightness as on the bed. Now I'm going to adjust the midtones a little bit, make it a little bit more poppy. Okay, so now I'm going to take Kewon and I'm going to make him slightly opaque, like that. And I'm going to take this, the polygon lasso tool. I'm going to zoom in. Now I'm going to click along the cover. Okay, that should be good. And I'm just going to finish that selection. And now I'm going to bring the opacity back up to 100%. I'm going to select a B for the brush tool. I'm going to press D to make the foreground black. And now I'm going to select the layer mask. And I'm going to paint in black over the rest of his body. And that should make it disappear, just like that. Now it looks like Kewon is under the cover. Now, this is looking okay, but the color temperature is different. So Kewon is being lit by a warm light, and the bed is lit by a cool light. Let's change them both a little bit. So I'm going to select the bed layer, hit Control or Command B, and I'm going to add just a little bit of warmth to it by adding a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red. So that's looking a little bit better. Before and after, you can see the difference. Click OK. Now I'm going to go to Kewon and I'm going to do the same thing. So I selected his layer. I'm going to hit Control or Command B. So you can see like he's more red and more yellow than the rest of the scene. So here's red, here's yellow. So we're going to slide the slider that is on the red line to the left and then the yellow line to the right. So now he's really starting to look like he's there. Okay, I like how that looks. Click OK. Now the next thing is that Kewon's covered in shadows, but the bed sheets aren't. So we're gonna paint some shadows in with the burn tool. So we're gonna go over here and select the burn tool. And we're gonna make the brush nice and small and also nice and soft. And we're going to select the highlights and unclick protect tones. So now that we've got the burn tool selected, it's a nice and soft brush. Let's go under his arm here. So I'm just gonna go back and forth. You can see it's getting slightly darker. Maybe I'll make the brush a little bit smaller as we get closer to his arm. Just go over it a few more times. Good. Anywhere that it'd make sense for there to be shadow, we're just gonna paint over. Make it extra dark the closer it gets to his arm. Okay, well now it actually looks like Kewon's just hanging out in bed. Not sure it's quite right for a thumbnail. This one's still missing something. We're missing an alligator. What is it with me and alligators? Jeez. So let's head back over to Envato Elements. This time we're gonna look up alligator in the 3D area. All right, what do we got? This one looks kind of realistic. This one looks kind of realistic. And I don't think that's quite what we're looking for. And this one. All right, he's very straight, which I guess is good if he's going in bed with Kewon. But that might not be the best one. This is a very realistic looking alligator head. I'm not liking that you can see out the bottom of its mouth. Maybe we'll mix it with another alligator. Or maybe we'll even just look at normal photographs. Let's look at photos. This is what normal people look for stock photos of. And for me, every time I come to this site, it seems that I'm looking up alligator pictures. All right, what do we got? What do we got? That one's kind of good, although I don't like the angle that he's on. Once again, we want a top-down kind of picture where he's like looking at Kewon. This might be okay. Yeah, let's give this one a go. I like the perspective on it. The lighting's not bad. So let's see if we can cut it out and throw it into our thumbnail. Plop it in with Kewon. Let's make them about the size of the frame. Oh yeah, so first we have to rasterize the layer again. And then we go down to remove background. Not bad. This will at least see what we can do with it. This would work on an angle like this one. Okay, so if we had him over here, we could have Danny on this side. So let's just see if we can Photoshop out that pillow. Doing the patch tool, selecting it. I'm just gonna hit Shift Backspace, Content Aware Delete. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do smaller amounts, get rid of that shadow. I'm gonna click and drag it with the patch tool. That gets rid of that nice and easy. It's an alright looking bed. So we're from this to this. Why don't we grab Danny while we're here? So I'm just gonna grab the quick selection tool. I'm gonna grab Danny just by clicking, holding, and dragging over. So now we're gonna hit Control J to duplicate his layer. I'm gonna take this out again, and now we have Danny. I'm gonna edit, transform, and flip horizontal. His shirt's backwards, but we don't even need the shirt. So I'm gonna bring him right about here. Nobody's gonna know he's backwards. Just gonna paint over Danny's cream pies. Sorry. That's the name of his brand. It's not a weird, you know, I'm just gonna stop. Okay. So there's Danny doing what Danny does, laughing. And now we've got all this free real estate to throw a gator in with Kewon. Let's bring our gator buddy back. Okay, so now he's below the layer that Danny's on. This looks okay. I think we're on the right track. You know, we could keep this body and actually put on the head of this guy. So let's try this. Okay, so here's our alligator head over top of our crocodile. Let's just resize this and bring it down. It looks like we got the angle pretty much perfect. So first I'm gonna rasterize this layer since we just brought it in. Control L for levels. Bring the levels up. You can tell that the lighting's really different on this one. Like the top of his head isn't white at all like the crocodile is. So that doesn't look great, but I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna paint out what we got right here of the crocodile. But we all know that alligators have bottoms of their mouths. I'm gonna select the top of his head, like so, and copy paste. Now I'm gonna bring it underneath that layer, and I'm gonna bring it down here. And I'm just gonna do a sloppy stretch. And now I'm gonna make it yellow. Add some red. Good. That already doesn't look bad. I'm just gonna burn the highlights in his mouth the deeper it goes. Just like so. Now we can see his teeth nice. Now I'm gonna dodge the other side, the midtones. Yeah, good enough. So I'm gonna combine these layers because I don't think I'm ever gonna need the other two separate. And I'm going to dodge the highlights, which there aren't a lot of. I'm gonna protect the tones on the alligator's head. Come on. So now the top of the alligator's head is getting whiter. And I'm gonna burn the highlights on the side. How's that? That's... you know what? I could move his head back further. Yeah, that's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Maybe I can't make a better thumbnail than Danny. Look, this alligator looks Okay, so now we're gonna take the alligator head. Let's select first, so we're gonna go in and we're just gonna select the top of his mouth. Okay, so now I'm just gonna hit Control J, and that duplicates the layer within the selection. So now I've got just this area. Now I'm gonna put Kewon in the middle, and now it looks like he's biting him. So, poor guy. Let's see what else we can do with this alligator. Alright, let's add a little bit of shadow underneath the alligators. We're just going to follow similar steps to before with the burning of the highlights. Okay, so now we're just going to go to the Kewon edit layer and just darken in where his arm is in the mouth of the alligator. Now the teeth stand out nice. Okay, so now we're going to add an adjustment layer. We're going to go to this little icon at the bottom and click Selective Color. This allows us to go into different colors within the alligator and then add and remove colors. So let's start with white. We already have white selected, so we're going to go to the black and then bring it up. You can see it's affecting the whole image, so we're going to hold the Alt or Option key and click between the selective color adjustment layer and the alligator layer. And that makes it so it only applies to the alligator layer. Now, when we move it up and down, you can see that it adjusts for it only. Okay, this is looking all right. So now we're just going to hit Control J, and we're gonna move it up so it's over the alligator top of the mouth. And now it's on the whole alligator because we have it on both. Right now, the thumbnail is looking okay. Like, I can tell that that's an alligator, but it's pretty small. Now, I don't really want to take Kewon's arm out of the picture, so let's see if we can bend it. Or we could just let the alligator have its way and bite it right off, but no, let's keep it peaceful. So I'm gonna go to the Kewon layers, and I'm going to go to Puppet Warp. Now I'm going to click the different points where Kewon's joints would be. So, like, let's just make his head a couple, bottom of the neck, his shoulder, elbow, and wrists. So now you can move different parts of his body. So I'm just gonna move his arm over a little. So what this will do is it lets us select everything behind Danny and then make it slightly bigger. This gives us more space to work with. Okay, let's get rid of Danny for a second. Let's just see if we had him over on this side. You know what? I might actually like this better after all. I'm gonna try Danny on the other side once more. Danny, transform, flip horizontal. This might be too violent for a thumbnail. I don't know. I hope not. It's looking better though. Like, I feel like this would catch my attention. So I still want to see a bit more of Kewon's fists, so I'm just going to go into Puppet Warp once more and do the same as last time, but just modify his wrist a little bit. We can adjust any of these points and make it a puppet, but obviously that's not what we're here for. We just want to adjust his arm. There we go. It wasn't until this point of the video that I realized my head is in front of the layers panel. Here we go. Okay, that looks a little bit better. I'm really sorry, guys. You've probably been using your imagination up until now. Thank you. I'll make sure that I don't make that mistake again in the future. First, I'm gonna get rid of this writing, I think. So I'm gonna make Kewon invisible. Why don't we try this? We're gonna use the spot healing brush tool. So we're just gonna make that a little bit bigger than the text and just paint over. And as you can see, it just kind of samples around it and removes it. So sometimes you need to click a couple times, but it does a pretty good job. All right, so that's looking a little bit better. Let's give his pillow some color. Okay, so now we're just gonna go in, select that. So here's pillow number 1. I'm gonna bring the gator and Kewon back. So now I'm just gonna hit Control J on the bed layer to duplicate the pillow, and then I'm gonna hit Control U or Command U on a Mac. And then I just have to go over to colorize, and then that just makes it so it's colored. So I'm just gonna bring the saturation up a little bit. I'm thinking I might wanna make it blue. Yeah, that looks okay. Now I'm gonna select Kewon's bed sheets. So here we are, just duplicating that, colorize, make it nice and red. I guess I'm in the way now. As you can see up here, it's nice and red now. I don't want it to be too overpowering, so maybe like that. That looks good. I'm just gonna select this pillow, just like I did the others. Maybe I'll make it blue as well, so it looks like a bed sheet set. Okay, so now I'm going to select the actual bed layer and then modify it slightly. So let's make it a little bit darker. I like the idea of just having it all blue, I think. Maybe a very faint dark gray blue, so you can still see the shadow. I just don't like the red. Pink would almost be funny in a way that would bring people in just to comment. Like, who would have thought that Kewon would have pink bed sheets, right? A good friend of mine who's a pretty big TikToker said that sometimes he likes to throw in little spelling mistakes into his captions, or just have something that's just slightly out of the ordinary. So that when people see it, they feel the need to comment on it, like say like, oh, you messed this up, or did anybody else catch that? And in TikTok, the whole time that you're typing your comment, the video's still playing, so that makes your view duration longer than if you just saw the video and left. So I think maybe giving Kewon, a purple pillow and a pink blanket might actually be a strategy that would be worth using. Do we want a different Danny altogether? I kind of like this picture. Spoiler alert, he goes off the ramp in his SUV. Okay, so I'm gonna go take this thumbnail, copy this, paste it here, make this nice and big. Alright, yeah, I think I like this better. So like, not only is this shirt less bright than the other one, like this is the other one, but it shows his Virginity Rocks brand, just like my shirt. He's kind of like saying to like take it easy, just like Kewon needs to if he doesn't want to lose his arm. And I think his energy matches this image a little bit better. So hopefully he likes it as much as we do and hires me to be his full-time thumbnail editor.